Pastor Dan from Dexter Gospel Church here again. Welcome to our 10th installment of Proverbs Practicals. In our last installment, we saw a pretty good way to assess how wise or foolish we are, what it takes to change us. This time we get another observation about the nature of those who bring trouble. We're in Proverbs 17 and verse 11. Proverbs 17:11 says, "An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him." There are some people who are always rebelling against something. They stiffen their necks against any authority. They're always looking to tear down any structure. They want their will to be the only will that matters in their lives. They don't want to submit to anyone or anything except their own desires. And those people are regarded as evil by God. It says an evil man seeks only rebellion. Now this evil can be wickedness like moral wrongness, and it can be pretty much all other kinds of bad, including disaster. Understand that in general, God disapproves of rebellion. In our last verse here in Proverbs 17:10, we were seeing a warning against stubbornness, and I noted 1 Samuel 15:23, which told us that stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. But that very same verse, the first part of the verse says, "For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft." Both stubbornness and rebellion exalt our will above the will of the legitimate authorities God places over us, whether that be parents, governments, or God Himself. Now there is a place to refuse some orders that are given us, but that place is only when that order would cause us to go against an order from another legitimate authority, particularly God Himself. Even then, believers aren't supposed to have a spirit of rebellion about them. We're not supposed to be rebelling against the one who gave the wrong order. We're supposed to be submitting ourselves to the one who gave the right order. Our hearts are not to be characterized by rebellion. And those who are so characterized, whose tendency, whose inclination, whose constant behavior is rebellion, those that are constantly rebelling and looking for something to rebel against, eventually they meet a devastating end. Eventually they run into an authority that they cannot overthrow and that will not overlook them. There will be no mercy for those who refuse authority. It speaks of a cruel messenger being sent against them. That means that sometimes it's not the authority themselves that ends up striking this person down. It can be something else, some other agent, something unforeseen. But when we set ourselves to rebellion, we set ourselves on a dangerous and ultimately tragic course. Now again, we can't obey everything that we're told to do because we get conflicting orders sometimes. But we can evaluate which authorities are legitimate according to God. And we can yield our will to what is right rather than demanding to have our way. Remember that God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. We ought to obey God rather than men. So if men tell us to do something that God forbids us to do, or men forbid us from doing something that God commands us to do, well, of course, we must obey the Lord. But that needs to be our litmus test. And again, the attitude of our heart needs to be submission to God rather than rebellion against authority. We ought to obey God, and He often calls upon us to obey men. Once again, I hope these videos are a help to you. We're going to leave this one up and running for a little while this evening so that if you'd like to discuss this and how to discern right from wrong authorities and orders and so on, you can do that in the live chat. And then we're going to try to start our next video at 7 o'clock, and so you can switch over to that one and carry on your conversation there as we study another verse of Proverbs. Thanks for watching once again. We'll plan on starting again at 7 p.m.